Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Data Dispatch. I hope you guys are having a great day. Well, the stock market basically had a complete recovery after yesterday's trading session when we saw that pullback when the inflationary data came back hotter than expected. And what we see with PLTR specifically is now up over $25 and actually closing above the 25, even a little bit higher in the after hours. We're going to be talking about what could happen in the near future, but also a warning that is becoming more of a reality that could be happening in the short term for PLTR. We need to acknowledge this. Of course, I'm not a financial advisor. Hit that like button, subscribe for daily videos, do your own research out there. I'm just collecting on the data and dispatching it to you. So what we see with PLTR, like I said, closing here at 25.19. We see this big recovery across the market, recovering mostly a big chunk of the loss that we saw in yesterday. We see NVIDIA looking here, popping back up into the 740s, pretty crazy, and markets up over 1% again. With Palantir specifically, on the micro level, you see the support here that is starting to be established. Now, this is not a strong baseline as of yet, but great to see at least a little bit of support being formed here above the 20s at this $24 area, which could be helpful if there are any reversals. Now, with that being said, and where Palantir could be going in the near future, we're seeing this push past this critical point of resistance that we've seen for PLTR and this astronomical gain for the beginning of the year, of course, after those quarter four earnings reports. And on top of that, if we compare to see what's been happening with NVIDIA in the previous few months, in the astronomical gain in value and market cap, Palantir is now experiencing a momentum and buying pressure into the market. You can even see at 25 here with the options volume that we are seeing is still continuing to be crazy high, 51,000 in terms of the call volume at the $26 strike price. But what you see here on the puts volume is starting to build. And before we get into those details, talking about what the market can do, and sometimes betting against a stock when it's at these year-to-date all-time highs, basically trading day after trading day, sometimes always isn't the best ideas, as markets can happily send shares, investor place is saying here, to $35 and beyond as the AI boom is continuing to surge across the markets. And we've seen this, like I said, with NVIDIA. We've seen this with other big AI stocks, and especially with AIP right here, Palantir could continue to grow, especially after we've had these big and one of the best earnings reports with that U.S. commercial revenue rising 70% year over year, driven by the 55% increase in customer count. Palantir is doing well. There is no doubt about that. And with the AI mania that is really behind this rally. Now, talking about that, looking at the Seeking Alpha article right here, Palantir is actually downgraded following last sharp week's run. And this is specifically from the firm HSBC, as the firm finds the company's valuation appears full following the stock's recent surge, basically saying here that Palantir, this market cap in the fourth quarter results has boosted by over 40%, and it was the best two-day stretch since November of 2021. And this gets to a point, looking at what all the different analysts are saying, what they're saying for the price targets. What we do see in general across the board is most analysts actually raise their targets about 15% after we did have that earnings that were reported. Now let's take a second to thank the sponsor of this video, Seeking Alpha. And as you guys have probably seen, I actually utilize Seeking Alpha on a daily basis to conduct all my research and to create content for you guys in the most non-biased approach that I can possible. And what I love about Seeking Alpha, and as we've particularly been looking at Palantir within the last few months, is that their data analytics gives me nearly any piece of information that I want to know about a particular stock. And this goes across the board for thousands of different stocks. You get exclusive access to things like earnings transcripts. You also get the bullish and the bearish perspective with many different analysts here, so that way you guys can actually formulate your own opinions and take your own positions on a particular stock. I really like Seeking Alpha because any information that I need, I can get it on there. So if you want access to this kind of data, make sure you check out my affiliate link down below. You get 20% off using that link, and that comes with a free 7-day trial. Check out the link, and I don't think you guys will be disappointed. Back to the video. But specifically, looking right here with Palantir, where the prices are right now, one of the biggest things that we do need to acknowledge is the valuation. And yes, prices still could continue to surge, but it's getting to a point personally that I'm starting to question, when is the pullback going to happen? And I kind of agree with the Seeking Alpha article right here, basically with this HSBC firm, that we've had this 40% pump by market cap within the previous few weeks. And with the valuations, you see here, they get an F. Valuations are very, very high. And we've talked about this, and that this is not necessarily a horrible thing for PLTR. We've acknowledged this, and I've talked about it, how valuations, in my opinion, are basically a future gauge for what the expected earnings reports are going to be. And everybody is very bullish on PLTR right now. But one thing, with the many successful days that we've seen for PLTR, there has not been any pullback thus far. This is where things can get very volatile, and a pullback could definitely happen. It's just a question on when is it going to happen, how high will PLTR go before any pullback is experienced, and also where will PLTR settle and try to find that support zone. Now, getting here to the 25s, and like I said, building micro support at the 24s, if Palantir has a pullback and establishes some strong support in the 20s, this will be incredibly great for maturity in the company and also to decrease its volatility. And Palantir is still on the top of my list as one of my favorite stocks out there. And I would agree with Investor Place that it is basically one of the 3 revolutionary stocks that will be a great catalyst for people taking the bet on AI. Talking about them, they are a leading competitor in the AI industry. So talking about a potential pullback, this is not necessarily make me a bear. This is just acknowledging the reality that these stocks are continuing to grow. And even with inflationary data that seems hotter, we have the basically sounds like interest rates, the probability of those being cut in March is now decreasing with that inflationary data, and the market is still continuing to ignore any type of bearish news. And the thing that this Investor Place article here compares this to is actually the AI mania, comparing it to the electrical vehicle startup that we saw in 2021. And we saw a lot of EV stocks pump, getting overvalued to a point that was almost unsustainable before we saw a lot of those pullbacks. Recently, we've seen a lot of these EV startups, such as Lucid and things like that, recently experiencing all-time lows. So I just want everybody to be very careful out there, especially if any bubbles are to pop and if Palantir is going to experience any profit taking. This does not necessarily mean this is a bad thing in general, but however, for people putting a lot of their eggs in one basket, thinking that Palantir will only go up after you see it going up every single trading day, it still can't continue to go up. Push past the 35s. I agree with that. We don't know where the top is for PLTR. However, that pullback could be coming at any moment, and it can come quick. That's all really the point of this video is acknowledging that at some point, when things don't start making sense, reality does need to come back down to its actual baseline. And we can't get into this fantasy land about things always going up. And that's just what personally, that's kind of what I'm seeing with Palantir right now. Very successful in many accomplishments. Still a bear, or still a bull, not a bear on the PLTR. But keeping you guys up to date. I want to know, what do you guys think down in the comments? Do you think this is logistical reasoning? Do you think I kind of have some type of point, or do you agree with my opinion here? Or do you think I'm nuts? Do you think Palantir is just going to keep continuing going up and we're not going to see pullback for a long time? I want to know what you guys think. Peace out, take care, and I will catch you guys later.